Brian, would you like to talk about the main event? It's the main event.
I'd like to hear what you thought of it, yeah.
Solo and Jacob Fatu against Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, and this is what, you know, the big, the gate and the whole 9 yards. Yes, Drew and Punk was a hot program, but this is what they've been trying to feature. What's going to happen with Cody and Roman? Will they get along? Will they break up? What's going to take place? And this was the big tease. And when they start this match, allegedly, they said the Tongas, Loa and Tama, were not there because of the beating they suffered the previous night. Have we decided that probably it's the shits to have a marching band and dancers playing Cody's music?
It didn't seem necessary for this, but then again, it was his hometown, and he's very much into big band music.
Well, then he should have had Glenn Miller or Kay Kaiser.
Cody's known for his love of marching bands, so I thought...
What about Ish Kabibble? Google that one, kids. Boy, howdy, I'll tell you what. It was the University of Arkansas Pine Bluff Marching Band. They weren't even from Atlanta. Did you hear the story behind this?
No.
Apparently, at one of their games, they played Cody's music and it went viral. So he found out, I guess, and they got him to come. But a college marching band, even one as accomplished as the University of Arkansas at Pine Bluff, Cody's music doesn't sound right coming from a marching band. It's like Stairway to Heaven on a harmonica. So then they did the real entrance with the real music, and out came Cody and blah, blah, blah. And then Roman is ready to come out, and they have an orchestra. I mean, like, not a college band, but like an orchestra. There was a gray-headed motherfucker, looked like he was 87 if he was a day. But they got the bass and the strings and the oboe and the oba and the femi and all those other people. And it sounded better because Roman's music lends itself to that orchestration a little bit better. But they were 3 hours into the show when they rang the bell to start the match. And I have to say, for once, I don't think this was too long, because everything was kept moving and the matches were good. So now we got the main event. And it was a tag team match, playa. And I think it was more about the story than the match. The match was nowhere near as revolutionary or groundbreaking or exciting or, whatever, scintillating, whatever term you want to use for the Hell in a Cell match. But there wasn't anything wrong with it. And everybody in the match is either a star or, in the case of Jacob Fatu, is the star henchman. So the match, and they kept it moving, but they kept it fresh at the same time. It wasn't the same shit you always see, and it wasn't the same shit happening over and over. And I mean, I did a notations of the back and forth, but basically that's what they did. They took the people on kind of the roller coaster ride where the baby faces would be in charge, but then the heels would settle down and get some heat on them, but then there'd be a tag. And I will mention at one point, Roman, actually, they got a little heat on him, and he made a hot tag to Cody. And it actually was a decent hot tag. And then Cody made a comeback, hit the flip-flop and fly, all the dusty stuff, gets over in Atlanta especially. And then later on, when it was time for the reverse, Cody kind of cold tagged Roman, but the people popped anyway because they wanted to see Roman come in and make the comeback. So Cody just kind of stood up and reached his hand out and leaned over and tagged him and fell. But he made the big comeback on Solo, did Roman. And the Superman punch. And then Solo and Jacob stopped Roman and Fatu with that fucking springboard moonsault, and he doesn't even have to look, and he nails it every time. It's amazing. The first time I saw him do that in MLW, I was like, he doesn't look physically like he should be able to do the shit that he does. And he was probably 50 pounds heavier then. But he just instinctively, I mean, I would let him. I don't know that there's anybody else that I'd let moonsault me except for Jacob Fatu, because I've never seen him potato anybody with it. But anyway, then they go to the floor, Cody and Jacob. And Cody hits the crossroads on the floor. And then Jacob's on the desk, and Cody comes off the top. Well, he gets on the top and he looks at Roman and gives him a little salute, like, I've got this motherfucker, you handle that one. And he splashes Fatu off the top through the announce desk and takes them both out of the fucking deal. And then Roman and Solo get in the fight, and Roman hits the Superman punch, and here come the Tongas. They lied. Those dirty heels, they lied. And then Solo was able to spear Roman and get a 2 count. And now Solo is taunting Roman. He feels like he's got everything well in hand. And the Tongas are on the floor. And Solo looks out and sees a guy in a hoodie on the floor behind the Tongas. And as they turn, he super kicks him. And it's Jimmy Uso. Oh, shit, he's back. And Roman spears Solo. Boom, 1, 2, 3. Because right there, you ain't going to get him any farther up anyway. But before we go to the afterbirth of this long, sordid saga, what'd you think of the match?
I thought it was okay, but just okay. Took a while, I thought. There were some really cool moments, like the moonsault, like Cody giving the sign off to Roman and sacrificing himself to give Roman that moment. But I thought the match was just okay, but that's typically what Bloodline matches are. It's not about the matches. It's about the moments that happen around the matches.
And I think that's, as we're going to get to this whole deal here in a second, that's why they had to put this on last. But I really think this match would have probably gotten over better if it hadn't come after the Hell in a Cell match. Everything else just, the people still enjoyed a lot and they cheered for everybody. But after you had seen that, your level of being impressed, the bar had been raised. You see what I'm saying? For that night, at least.
Yeah, but enough time went by that it was almost like you had enough chance to refresh yourself from that first match.
Well, yeah, you can't grieve forever.
Well, I mean, it's a pay-per-view. That was the first match. They had a whole card. And
I know. That's what Lawler used to say to Jim Ross. They'd do some fucking deal on Raw in the Attitude Era where some guy had been disemboweled with a chainsaw and the innards hung out to dry and some horrible thing happening. And they go to the break and 3 minutes later they come back and here's the human oddities in the ring or something. And Lawler would elbow JR and say, oh, well, we can't grieve forever. And now here we go. Anyway, so Roman and Jimmy Uso, they have a hug and they get the big pop because now Jimmy Uso has come back into the fold. And then Roman and Cody kind of face off at each other. And Roman looks at the belt. But then he nods at Cody and he gets out of the ring. He's like, okay, I respect you or whatever. And Roman and Uso are walking to the back, and the Tongas jump back in, and Solo jumps back in, and Jacob jumps back in, and they're all attacking Cody. And Uso's asking Roman, what are we going to do here? You can't just stand here. And Roman thinks about it for a minute, and then Roman and Jimmy Uso hit the ring and take out the heels. Boom, 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 and Roman picks the belt up and hands it to Cody. And right as that happens, you hear from the PA system, if you smell... And then you couldn't hear anything else. Now, if you smell what The Rock is cooking, and the crowd went batshit, and it's The Rock with the People's Champion belt that he got from Muhammad Ali's widow, at a yard sale. And The Rock stared at the baby faces, and the baby faces stared at The Rock, and the baby faces stared at each other, staring at The Rock, and The Rock stared at the people staring at him, staring at the baby faces. And then The Rock left. So that's what happened.
WrestleMania's next year, so Rock's getting ready for the season that he'll be around, and he gets to now claim that he drew the gate, and drew the house, and drew everything for the show.
Are you saying it 'tis the season to be Rocky?
Well, we will see what happens, because, you know, those are the two natural matchups he has, Cody and Roman. We don't know who he's going after right now. It's intriguing. We'll see where it goes, and that was Bad Blood.